He sat on the cold pavement, his face hidden beneath a scruffy beard, his clothes torn and stained, a man the world had long forgotten. People walked by like he was invisible, like his very existence was an inconvenience. But what no one knew was that this man carried a secret that could change everything. A secret so powerful it could silence the whispers, shut down the judgment, and even shock the one woman who decided to show him kindness. Because the moment she handed him a small box of leftover food, he reached into his pocket and pulled out something no homeless man was ever expected to have. But before we get there, let's step back. Because nothing about this story is what it seems. If stories that uncover truth, dignity, and the unexpected strength of the human spirit speak to you, then hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and stay with me all the way to the end. Because trust me, what you think you know about life, about people, about judgment, is about to be challenged. Now let's go to where it all began. She was tired that evening, her body sore from hours of scrubbing floors and dusting shelves in a house that wasn't her own. She had been working as a maid for years, not because she lacked intelligence, but because life had not given her the same opportunities as the ones she cleaned for. Her name was Rosa, a black woman, only 38, yet carrying on her shoulders the weight of 1,000 unspoken battles. That night, as she tied her scarf and packed the leftovers the wealthy family didn't even care to touch, she felt the ache of hunger in her stomach. But instead of eating it, she thought of the man she had passed every day on her way home, the one who sat quietly by the broken streetlight, never begging, never calling out, just waiting as life passed him by. Something in her heart told her that tonight she shouldn't walk past him again. Tonight, she should stop. When she placed the food in his hands, his eyes lifted, and for the first time she saw them. Not the eyes of a beggar, but the eyes of someone who once knew better days. "Why, Maya?" he whispered. Her reply was simple: because no one deserves to be forgotten. But what happened next would leave Rosa speechless. The man put the box on his lap, reached into his ragged coat, and pulled out a shiny gold-plated credit card. She froze. Her hands trembled. A credit card? In the hands of a man who looked like he hadn't bathed in months? Rosa's mind raced. Was this man a fraud? Was he pretending to be homeless, tricking people into pitying him? Or was there a story here, one that no one had cared enough to listen to? Her instinct told her not to run, and that decision changed everything. Because the man leaned in, his voice low, and said, "I wasn't always like this." Rosa's chest tightened. She wanted to walk away, but curiosity held her there. "Once," he continued, "I had it all. A home, a family, a company. But pride can strip a man of everything." Every word he spoke drew her deeper into a mystery she never signed up for. How could someone with wealth end up abandoned on the street? What happened to the people who once sat at his table? And more importantly, why was he holding on to that golden card like it still meant something? But just as Rosa leaned in to ask, a shadow passed behind them. A group of young men walked by, laughing, pointing, and mocking the old man. One of them shouted, "Beggar! Look at you!" Another tried to kick the box of food from his lap. Rosa's heart pounded as she stepped in front of him, shielding him. The boys sneered, but something in her eyes made them back off. When they left, the man said quietly, "You don't even know what you just protected. That card, it's not about money. It's about proof. Proof that I am not what they think I am." And in that moment, Rosa realized she was standing at the doorway of a story that went far beyond charity. But here's the question: why would a man with access to wealth sleep on the streets? Why hide? Why live like this? The answer would only come in fragments. He told her that years ago, he had trusted the wrong people. People who smiled at his table but stabbed him in the back. He spoke of betrayal, of signatures that cost him everything, of lies that ruined his name. Rosa listened, but one part of her still wondered, was he telling the truth? Or was this just another lie, dressed up in shame and mystery? That night, she went home with more questions than answers, but she couldn't shake his voice, his eyes, or that golden card flashing in her mind. The next day, she returned to the same spot, and again he was there, sitting quietly, as though the world had stopped moving for him. She handed him food, But this time, she didn't walk away. "Tell me," she said, "the whole story." The man sighed, closed his eyes, and whispered, "If I tell you, it could put you in danger too." Her breath caught in her throat. Danger? He opened his eyes, and for the first time, she saw fear in them. "They took everything from me, and they are still watching, still waiting. That's why I can't leave the street. It's the only place they won't look." Rose's skin tingled. What had she stepped into? This wasn't just about a man who lost his fortune. This was about something bigger, darker. And then he held her gaze and said, "If you want to know the truth, meet me here tomorrow. But come alone. No one else can know." Her mind spun. She had a choice: walk away from a mystery that could consume her life, or step into a story that might finally reveal why a man with a golden card chose the dust of the street over the comfort of a home. The decision would test her courage, her faith, and everything she thought she knew about justice. And just as she began to open her mouth to answer him, the sound of screeching tires pierced the air. A black car slowed down by the curb. The window rolled down. A pair of eyes studied them in silence. Then, without a word, the car drove off into the night. Rosa's heart raced. She turned back to the man, her voice trembling. Who was that?" His answer came like a knife through the silence. "The reason I lost everything." And that was only the beginning. Rosa could barely breathe as the black car vanished into the night. The man's words still echoed in her ears. "The reason I lost everything." Sleep deserted her that night. Questions pounded her head. Who was that man really? Why did a car appear the moment he spoke of danger? And what kind of power could take a man from riches to rags, from a home to the streets, while he still clutched a golden card like it held his last fragment of identity? The next day, Rosa returned. Her hands shook as she carried food, her eyes scanning the streets, looking for shadows that might be following her. And there he was, waiting, almost as if he knew she would come. "You shouldn't have come back," he said quietly, but there was a faint smile on his lips. "That means you're brave. Or foolish." "Then make me understand," Rosa demanded. "Tell me the truth." The man took a deep breath. His eyes grew heavy with memories. "I was once the CEO of a company I built with my own hands. We were unstoppable. But my closest friend, my brother in everything but blood, betrayed me. He forged documents, shifted money, and left my name on the crimes. In one day, I went from respected to ruined. Reporters painted me as a fraud. My family turned away. And the man in that car? He was the one who signed the papers that destroyed me." Rosa's jaw tightened. "But if you have that card, if you still have money, why stay here?" He looked down at the gold card and held it up. "This card isn't for spending. It's my evidence. Proof of accounts that were stolen, funds hidden overseas. If I use it, they'll trace me. If I stay hidden, I live. If I expose them, I die." Rosa's stomach dropped. She had expected a tragic story, but this was a battlefield of greed and power she had never imagined. "Then why tell me?" she whispered. His answer was slow, steady. "Because I see something in you. You didn't walk past me like the others. You stopped. And maybe you were meant to carry the truth I cannot." The weight of his words crushed her chest. She was just a maid, a woman trying to survive on scraps of dignity. How could she hold the secrets of a man hunted by powerful enemies? But before she could speak, the same black car returned. This time, it didn't pass by. It stopped. Men in dark suits stepped out, their eyes cold, sharp, searching. Rosa froze. "Go," the man hissed. "Now." "I can't just leave you." "Listen to me." He pressed the golden card into her hand, his fingers trembling. "Take this. If anything happens to me, don't let them bury the truth. Promise me the suits were coming closer." Rosa's legs refused to move. Fear gripped her like chains. "Promise me," he shouted. With tears in her eyes, she whispered, "I promise." And then chaos erupted. The men reached them. One shoved Rosa aside, another grabbed the old man. He didn't fight. He just looked at her, his eyes calm, almost peaceful. And in that look, Rosa understood. He had already made his choice. They forced him into the car. She screamed, tried to run after them, But the engine roared and the tires screeched, leaving her in a cloud of dust, clutching the golden card in her hand. For a long moment, she just stood there, trembling, her heart shattering. She had come to give leftovers. She was leaving with a secret heavy enough to destroy lives. That night, Rosa sat on her small bed, staring at the card. The man's words echoed in her ears. Don't let them bury the truth. She knew she had a choice. Stay silent and safe, or fight for a stranger who once had everything but chose to trust her with his last hope. Her hands shook as she whispered to herself, maybe no one deserves to be forgotten, not even him. And from that moment, Rosa's life would never be the same, because the world thought she was just a maid. But in her hands now was power, power that could expose corruption, restore dignity, and rewrite the story of a man everyone had judged too quickly. The story began with kindness, but it would end with courage. And as she held the golden card close to her heart, Rosa knew one thing: the fight had only just begun. If this story touched you, if it opened your eyes to the power of kindness, dignity, and courage, then don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that reminds us. Life is deeper than what we see on the surface, because sometimes the leftovers you give away might uncover a truth greater than gold.